So the judge has absolutely wrecked AH, and she's decided, you know what? I'm going to argue with the judge. And the hilarious thing about this is that AH has already made the judge mad about this by previously arguing that decision. That's right, they're doubling down, returning to a subject yet again. Now, what's even better is that I think that this is a call out by the judge, basically saying, you wanted to call me out, you wanted to call out the court, you wanted to call out the jury, saying, if you would have been able to present everything, you would have had a different outcome. Well, here you go. AH's side admits too, if they got to unlock everything, they would get to unlock the deposition transcripts, the exhibits not introduced at trial, essentially everything that they were telling the media that they could have presented, they would have won with. Yeah, they could unlock it right now. They could show it all, but instead, they don't want that. Oh no. This move here, it's about asking the court for a protective order enforcing confidentiality designations. The judge has already said they're going to unseal things. Well, you have AH, like I said, coming back, trying to argue something. This is going to go very, very poorly for them. There's going to be some fireworks to this. Fun times. Fun times indeed. So hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. And what's funny is they start this out like the court actually posed a question to them. And here's the thing. I'm sure that AH and her lawyers would love to argue with little old me, telling me that I'm totally wrong about this. But they included a transcript of one hearing. This is just one of a few, by the way. In this hearing, you had the judge asking, why the heck are you people still filing things under seal? This stuff, it's supposed to be undone. They're talking about appeals, by the way. The judge says, quote, most of the things, the items in, at least the hearings were sealed because we didn't want to have any taint to the jury. But then they're saying, now that that's over, now we're moving on to the appeals process. What exactly is going on? We thought we were going to unseal everything. You have Ben Chu come in and say, you know, that was our assumption too. Things wouldn't be sealed anymore. And the court says, correct. That was my assumption too. So I just, but when you started filing things under seal, I was a little confused. And Elaine's like, but, I'm going to go back and look at that. The court says, well, you know, my intention was to unseal everything. And you have Elaine try to speak up. So the court cuts them off. You notice that. That's when the court gets irritated. They start cutting you off. They're like, okay, so that's where I'm at. So if you can provide me something different than that, I'll look at it. But especially when it goes to the Court of Appeals on appeal, there shouldn't be anything sealed. We already had the trial. And mind you, this isn't the only discussion that they've had about this subject either. In one of them, you had the court seemingly very angry with Elaine and AH. Like they said, they've had this trial. They're done with it. The decision has already been rendered. So for them to try to keep things under wraps, yeah, that just doesn't fly. They admit this too. They admit that the court, they had every intention of doing this. You can see it right here in their filing. The courts expressed intention to unseal everything on record. So they say, yes, they were intended to do it. But listen to all this here. So at the June 24th, 22 hearing, the court asked the parties to consider permitting the court to unseal all previously sealed files on record, even if not introduced at trial. Again, I didn't take that as a question. When I looked at it, it was the court saying, we're going to do this. You can argue. If you have a good argument, I'll consider it. But, and they made it very clear, but I'm going to do it anyway. The court indicated that in the event the record goes to the Court of Appeals, there shouldn't be anything sealed. We had the trial. And that's exactly correct, by the way. They already had the trial. Again, things were sealed because they weren't trying to taint the jury pool. So in the aftermath, everything they should come out in the wash. The court asked the parties to review and consider whether this was the intention of the parties and to respond to the court's expressed intention to unseal everything on record, absent objections, or a basis for not unsealing. This filing constitutes AH's position with respect to the unsealing of any portions of the record not introduced at trial. Now, like I was saying, I feel that this is a call out by the judge saying, oh, Elaine, you want to put me on blast? You want to challenge my authority, saying you weren't given a fair trial? Well, here you go. We're going to unseal absolutely everything. You get everything you want. And they're saying, no, we want more things to go back under protective order. Why? Because some of that information is sensitive. It's amazing to see them try to double, triple down on this, arguing with the judge after the judge has wrecked them by giving them everything they want. Listen to their argument here. The vast majority of the remaining sealed documents in this case, they include pleadings, motions, attachments to pleadings and motions, deposition transcripts, attachments to deposition transcripts, hearing transcripts, and exhibits not introduced at trial. Yeah, you remember all those things. They were saying, again, if they could show off, well, then you'd understand. Well, many of these attachments or exhibits contain sensitive information, including medical and mental health information. You know that mental health information they bragged about, saying this stuff exists. If only you could see it in interviews. Yeah, they want to lock that down. That was intended, they continue, by the parties to remain private and confidential and should not be summarily unsealed. Some of the record documents are also confidential schedules and other documents labeled as such by the courts and potentially subject to other court orders. Defendant and counterclaim plaintiff, therefore, objects to a blanket unsealing of the entire record, including all documents currently filed under seal. Like I said, that is hilarious because, again, they just got every single thing that they were asking for, but they never really wanted it. Now, what they want instead is the ability to pick and choose items. They want to go through every single item on record saying, well, that one, I want that one unsealed, but only that one. I don't want these others unsealed. They note that there too. Defendant and counterclaim plaintiff is willing to review the court's complete record for all currently sealed documents and work with counsel for plaintiff and counterclaim defendant to reach agreement on as many of the documents as possible to be unsealed. So, again, they get to pick and choose. They get to decide what's put out there. But I thought that they wanted everything on display. If only, again, they got to show everything. Like I said, the judge has wrecked them on this. They caught their bluff. They don't like it at all. They're arguing, oh man, it's going to get ugly from here. But anyway, let me know what you think about this. And as always, I appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Thank you. I can't say that enough. If you want to help out the channel too, links in the description. We can always use your help, so check those out. But you being here is the biggest help of all. So thank you. Appreciate you. End it here. See you soon.